Chemical tankers are special ships built to a high degree of safety. To operate them, an equally high degree of professionalism is required from the officers and crew. Running a chemical tanker is an expensive business, but the ship will only earn a return on investment when she's carrying a cargo, and for a considerable part of her working cycle, she cannot do this. These periods are both critical and expensive. They occur when the officers and crew carry out their cargo tank cleaning. This ship is mooring at a discharge port, where she will spend 3 days discharging her 28 cargo tanks. But before she can load new cargo, she may spend several days cleaning her cargo tanks. In this video, we'll show the detailed planning and precise operation that enables a typical tank cleaning process to be carried out safely and efficiently. Before a ship arrives at a discharge port, the first officer prepares the plans for tank washing. During unloading, the first officer will verify the plan and schedule for cleaning the 28 separate tanks on board this ship. During the planning process, he will need to consider a number of factors. The most important of these are the construction and size of the tanks, the tank wall coatings, the nature of the last cargo, the nature of the next cargo to be loaded, the nature of cargoes in adjacent tanks which may prevent the use of recommended cleaning procedures, for example, the use of hot water, the washing medium to be used, such as seawater, fresh water, solvents, chemicals, and steam, the appropriate techniques to be employed, the time, number of machines, and personnel available for cleaning. For more detailed information, consult the booklet provided with this video. All these aspects need to be considered in the context of the ship's P&A manual and the regulations in force in ports, in special sea areas, and on the high seas as designated in MARPOL Annex 1 and 2. The first officer has the regulations and other guidance available to help him devise the correct tank washing plan for each situation. These include the ship's P&A manual, the ship owner's tank cleaning manual, the tank coating manufacturer's handbook, stainless steel manufacturer's guidance, MARPOL Annex 1 and 2, US Coast Guard Chemical Data Guide for bulk shipment of chemicals, guides such as Dr. Verwe's, the IBC code, and the ship's own tank cleaning records. How he uses all this information will vary with each combination of last and next cargo, but the ship owner's tank cleaning manual and the charterer's requirements will always form the basis of his plan. Using the cargo data sheets, the first officer will confirm the nature of both the last cargo in the tank and the next cargo to be loaded. He will also look in the IBC code for additional information. In this case, the last cargo was a vegetable oil, palm oil, and the next cargo will be methanol. But there is a vast range of combinations that could arise. Easy chemicals, high-grade chemicals, clean petroleum products, molasses and caustics, for example. So he needs to know exactly what can and cannot be done with the cargo residues during the washing process. To see how the regulations and guidelines are used to get to the right washing plan, we can follow the first officer as he draws it up. To begin with, he must list the answers to the following questions. What was my last cargo? Palm oil. Does the cargo require pre-wash with the slops discharged under controlled conditions to shore? No. It is MARPL Category D. Can I start the first wash with cold seawater? No. The cargo is discharged at 60 degrees Celsius. Can I start with hot seawater? Yes. The tank coating manufacturer permits this. During first wash, is stripping necessary? Yes. Continuous stripping is required. Are the stripping lines and pumps free and in good working order? To be checked. Can the best trim and list of the ship be arranged to maximise stripping efficiency? Yes. Is flushing with fresh water required? Yes, at cargo discharge temperature. Can the heaters provide the necessary throughput of hot water? Yes, but check with Chief Engineer. Is hand wash required? To be determined after visual inspection. Is steaming required? Yes. Is chemical recirculation required? Yes, with alkali cleaning chemicals permitted by coating manufacturer. Is deionized water wash required? Yes, availability to be checked with the Chief Engineer. What is next cargo? Methanol. What preparation is required? Methanol wool wash, hydrocarbon test, permanganate time test, chloride test, mopping and drying. Wash with deionized water, then methanol wool wash test again. So we can see that planning the tank washing is a complex process. It must be carried out correctly every time to avoid cargo contamination and to prevent dangerous conditions from arising. Once the right procedures have been selected and all the necessary personal safety equipment has been specified, the operation of tank washing is relatively straightforward.
I've printed out our stresses, and this is what I got, sir. The maximum stresses we got was at frame 48 at 43%.
Having determined the main requirements, the first officer will verify the plan with the master, the chief engineer and the bosun and check that the required hot water, deionized water and steam will be provided. The heating coils are functioning and the stripping lines and pumps are in good order.
Boiler readiness, of course, we have to come to chief engineer on that subject. So, how's the boilers? Are they ready, chief?
Yeah, both boilers are working in perfect condition. So, I will try to give maximum steam. So, also both freshwater generators also in good condition and producing about 70 metric ton per day.
Where fixed machines are not available, he must also work out the number of portable washing machines required. With this information, the first officer can complete his plans for washing the tanks and prepare a time schedule for the days ahead. The finished tank washing schedule is placed on the notice board in the cargo control room so that actual progress can be checked against it. It only remains to establish when the first tanks will be ready for washing. Most modern tanks are fitted with fixed washing machines, which can wash the entire tank during a washing program. Occasionally, they need to be supplemented by portable machines. Where fixed machines are not fitted, portable ones are used. These are set to work at different heights in the tank and wash at each level for between 1 and 3 hours. So the bosun and his deckhands prepare portable washing machines for those tanks which do not have fixed machines. In our case, the last cargo is palm oil. But for many cargoes, MARPOL Annex II demands that tanks are efficiently stripped while unloading to leave only minute quantities of cargo in the tank and lines. Palm oil residues, however, can be washed at sea in accordance with MARPOL regulations.
Roger, start pump. Okay, sir. Easy.
The washing machines are switched on. The number of tanks which can be washed at one time will depend on the heater capacity. It is most important to ensure that the washing process can clean the lines, drains, tank appendages such as probes and gauging systems, tank lids and hatches. Depending on the machine cycles and the tank construction, washing takes about 1 hour at each level. The machines are then lowered down to the next level. Washing the tank sides usually takes between 1 and 3 hours, after which the machines are set for bottom washing for a further 1.5 hours. All these details can be verified in the P&A manual. Check that all the machines which are switched on are actually working. The easiest way is to listen to them from the deck. Make sure that the correct water temperature is maintained for optimum washing efficiency. Simply relying on the temperature reading of the heater is not enough, as some heat is lost on the way to the tank. It's the water temperature inside the tank that must be verified. Warm water should be around 40 degrees Celsius and hot water around 70 degrees, always observing the tank coating temperature limitations. Stripping must start as soon as possible, and the ship's trim and list is adjusted to assist this process. The machines are now set to do bottom washing.
Okay, Rich, we are entering cargo tank 3CS, so keep your walkie-talkie on and stay in continuous contact to the man who is standing by on top, who is going to be Cadet Nazrin. Over.
Roger, Chief.
Very soon after the machines have completed the first wash, the tank must be visually inspected. Now, as this will involve entry into the tanks, the required safety equipment is made ready and the first officer fills out the entry permit. Always wear clean shoes and all the appropriate personal safety protection specified in the entry permit when entering a tank.
So you stand by on top, okay, while I go into the tank and check the tank.
At this stage, the inspection team look at the condition of the tank coating and check if there are any shadow areas the washing machines could not reach. After inspection, a further washing with hot water takes place before a chemical wash is carried out to break down the last remaining cargo residues. After this chemical wash, which normally lasts for about 1 hour, a further rinse cycle is begun using hot, fresh water, followed by demineralized water or steam. The tanks are ventilated and dried, ready for another inspection. During the second inspection, a decision is made as to whether hand washing is required to clean the last remaining areas where machine washing was not adequate. Following this, the first methanol wall wash is carried out and the collected samples are taken for analysis. For the wall wash, uncontaminated methanol is sprayed either directly onto the tank wall or onto clean cotton wool, and a specified area of the tank coating is washed. The methanol is collected in sample bottles, including that squeezed from the cotton wool through a filter. After this, a deionized water wash takes place for about 30 minutes. Tests must be carried out to check both the hydrocarbon and chloride content of the wall wash sample. Also, a PTT, permanganate time test, is carried out to check for any other impurities present in the wall wash sample. The hydrocarbon test is carried out on a mixture of a specified amount of the wall wash sample and distilled water. The mixture is shaken and is allowed to stand for 20 minutes. Any hydrocarbon in the sample will turn the test mixture cloudy or milky. If this happens, tank washing must continue until no trace of hydrocarbon is found in subsequent wall wash samples. In the chloride test, a solution of silver nitrate is used to determine the presence of chloride in the wall wash sample. Mixing the two together produces a milky or cloudy solution. The wall wash is carried out with distilled water sprayed on cotton wool. The sample is filtered into a test tube and more distilled water is added to make 100 milliliters by volume. 5 drops of silver nitrate are added and the solution is mixed thoroughly. This is then compared to another mixture made up of 99 millimeters distilled water and 1 milliliter of standard chloride solution and 5 drops of silver nitrate. The turbidity or cloudiness of the two solutions is compared to determine the presence of chloride in the wall wash sample. The permanganate time test works on the basis that any impurities react with potassium permanganate in neutral solutions and reduce it to manganese dioxide. This colors the liquid yellow in a given time. The time taken for the liquid to match the color of a standard solution is measured. The precise test methods are given in tank cleaning guidebooks. If the results do not meet the charterer's limits, the tanks are steamed for 2 to 3 hours if the coating limitations permit. During steaming, stripping should be continued. Following this, the tank is ventilated for about an hour. A second methanol wall wash test is carried out and the new samples are analysed again for chloride, hydrocarbon and PTT. If the PTT is not within the acceptable limits, repeat the cleaning process until they are reached. If chloride is higher than 2 parts per million, then continue washing with deionized water. When the reading drops below 2 parts per million, the tank is ventilated and dried, resting the coating for as long as time allows. Once the tank washing has been successfully completed, the first officer must check that his records are correct and complete.
Hello, junior engineer. Okay, we have completed tank cleaning, so I'm going to stop the power packs now, number 2 and 3. Yeah.
All that remains to be done before loading the next cargo is the preload inspection and testing, which normally takes place in the loading port. This involves checking the tank, the pumps, the lines, the packings and gauges, as well as inspecting the coating for blistering, cracks, or mechanical damage. The heating coils are tested and may be purged by nitrogen, then isolated. A tank tightness test may also be carried out. We saw earlier that there can be a great many combinations of last and next cargo on board a chemical tanker. So there will be many cases where the choice of washing agents and methods are completely different. Some of the washing combinations can involve toxic, corrosive or flammable chemicals, requiring the use of special protective equipment and safety procedures. So it is important to follow strictly the procedures given in the ship's tank washing manual. The use of water as a washing agent is common for most chemicals, so the exceptions to this are most significant. Let's look at just such a special case of last cargo. For example, isocyanates. This cargo must not be in contact with water. The washing agent could be methylene chloride, dichloromethane, or toluene. During unloading, the tank must be filled with nitrogen before washing can begin. After machine washing for 2 hours, the tank, lines and pumps must be drained thoroughly into a shore tank that does not contain water. Then the cargo tank must be washed as if the solvent used was last cargo. The slops must be disposed of in accordance with MARPOL regulations. Another special cargo is styrene monomer, which can polymerize rapidly if washed incorrectly. In this case, it's important to wash the tank immediately after unloading has finished. This cargo must not be washed with hot water or with acidic cleaning chemicals, as these can trigger polymerization. At the other extreme, some solvent cargoes require ventilation prior to washing to ensure that the cargo vapor leaves the tank coating. Check the coating manufacturer's instructions regarding ventilation. The one thing that applies in all cases of tank washing is that every piece of equipment, such as the fixed and portable machines, tank spraying and chemical injection facilities, cargo and stripping pumps, dehumidifiers and ventilation systems must be in good working order at all times. This will ensure that the next time tank washing is required, both the master and first officer can be confident that the crew are able to carry out the necessary washing procedures safely and efficiently before the ship sails to load her next cargo.